Hi, my name is Karen Karbiener, and I am a professor of American literature at New York University in Manhattan. I am living in London for a year, working at NYU London's campus. Absolutely delighted to be here, and also very happy to be around the corner from Conway Hall, where I am right now. Conway Hall is named after Moncure Daniel Conway, who has a unique and very important tie to a poet I specialize in, Walt Whitman. In 1929, this building was built and named Conway Hall after Moncure Daniel Conway, who was a 19th century abolitionist, a radical writer, a free thinker, and an incredible support base of a number of poets, writers, musicians. Moncure Daniel Conway, was the leader of the South Place Ethical Society from 1864 to 1884, and then again from 1893 to 97. He served as an important thinker for the development of the ethical and free-thinking movements here in the UK. And many people might know him as such, but he was also very important to the development of the poet Walt Whitman. He supported Whitman tirelessly for decades after visiting him in Brooklyn in 1855. Whitman in 1855 came out with a book called Leaves of Grass. It did not sell. One of the few people who actually got a copy and read it was Ralph Waldo Emerson. That was Conway's supervisor when Conway was at Harvard Divinity School. And Conway kind of caught the fever. My dear Mr. Emerson, I immediately procured the Leaves of Grass after hearing you speak of it. I read it on board the steamer Metropolis on my way to New York on the evening after seeing you, and resolved I should see its author if I could while I was in the city. As you seemed much interested in him and his work, I have taken the earliest moment which I could command since my return to give you some account of my visit. That is Moncure Conway writing to his mentor, Ralph Waldo Emerson, after seeing Walt Whitman for the first time in September 1855. He had been visiting with Emerson up in Boston. Boston touted Leaves of Grass as the most incredible piece of wit and wisdom ever produced in America. And Conway, being 23 and full of fire and interest, went down on a steamer to look for this so-called Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman was absolutely unknown at this time. He had come out with a book in July 1855 called Leaves of Grass. Didn't even have his name on it. Nobody really knew who he was. The book was not selling. So Conway, just on his own, decides to go down and look for Whitman. And there are all sorts of notes in Conway's autobiography about the difficulties with which he found the house, which was nearly out of Brooklyn, as he said. When he got there, he encountered Whitman's mother, who immediately told him to go down to the print shop to go find Walt. And he did find Whitman printing and looking at proofs in the old Rome printing shop where Leaves of Grass was actually produced. Went for a walk with Whitman, talked with him, spent a whole afternoon, and then sat down to write this letter to Emerson. And I'm going to read you another section because it shows Conway's fascination, yes, with the book, but also very much with the man, thinking a lot about Whitman's very striking appearance. And Conway writes, his beard and hair are grayer than is usual with a man of 36. His face and eyes are interesting, and his head rather narrow behind the eyes, but a thick brow looks as if it might have absorbed much. He walked with me and crossed the ferry. He seemed hail fellow with every man he met, all apparently in the laboring classes. He says he is one of that class by choice, that he is personally dear to some thousands of such in New York, who, quote, love him but cannot make head or tail of his book. He rides on the stage with the driver, stops to talk with the old man or woman selling fruit at the street corner, and his dress, etc., is consistent with that. So first impressions had definitely taken hold. There was something about Whitman that truly entranced Conway, and he writes here, I came off delighted with him. His eye can kindle strangely, and his words are ruddy with health. He is clearly his book. and I went off impressed with the sense of a new city on my map, Brooklyn, just as if it had suddenly risen from the boiling sea. And that was the beginning of one of the most important literary friendships in Whitman's life. Conway went on to visit Whitman every decade until Whitman's death. He wrote reviews. He published articles. He distributed copies of Leaves of Grass when he lived in the UK. And he even gave a speech at Conway Hall after Whitman's death that I will be talking about during this presentation. There's so much more to talk about with this transatlantic friendship. There's so many more great stories to share, including Conway coming for a visit in 1857 and the bathing in Coney Island that happens, and his commentary on Whitman's beautiful body, to the discovery of the lecture that Conway gave on Whitman after Whitman's death in 1896 at Conway Hall. So please do come down on June 7th to Conway Hall. Just follow the link down below and hope to see you here. Thank you.